Plenty of times you've been in the gym seeing people isolate their rotator cuff by doing these exercises.
No, 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 no. Oh, no. No, 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 no.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog.
These movements are wrong because with internal and external rotation of the shoulder, you can't be flopping your arms around like you're Forrest Gump riding on the boat and then you see Lieutenant Dan on the dock. So here's some valuable exercises and the correct way to isolate your rotator cuff. So you'll notice here on this first exercise we call the hornblower's external rotation, elbows in front, and it's a much more controlled external rotation of the shoulder. Perform this with a cable, band, whatever you're liking. Great exercise to isolate the external rotators. Then you see we're getting an isometric hold on the external rotators by holding it and punching it into overhead elevation. So not only are you going to be working that external rotator through a full range of motion, but it's also going to be getting a nice, good contraction while it controls that shoulder motion up and down. Then we switch sides. We have your hornblower's internal rotation. So instead of working those external rotators, we're going to start working the internal rotators. The same rules apply. You're going to keep your elbow nice and steady. You're going to keep that arm out in front. You're going to pull over and feel the inside kind of shoulder work. And then you can also perform the hornblower's internal rotation with punch in the same way. Next up is the 90-90 external rotation. So instead of having that arm in front, you're going to have it kind of cocked back as far as you can. And then you're going to let that arm fall in and then bring it all the way back. And you should feel the upper back, kind of that scapula start to work. The same thing, cock it back, squeeze the external rotators, and then punch up overhead. So you're going to get that external rotation isometric work of those external rotators as you raise the arm overhead with this one too. Turn around, flip the arm up, bring it down, works the internal rotators in that 90-90 position as well. So all things apply, same as for the external rotation. And then you can also, like we said, kind of add that isometric internal hold and then work into an overhead elevation at the same time. Then we'll lay down on our side on a bench or whatever you can find. Keep the elbow tucked real tight to you and just slightly raise that arm up while also keeping your wrist straight. So this isn't a large movement, but it's going to get that external rotation and gravity's going to be pulling that weight down and challenging those external rotators. Then as you get to the top, get that extra squeeze and punch the dumbbell out to add a little extra difficulty to the external rotation and the isometric hold that it has. So now we sit on a bench and raise that knee up, place the elbow on the knee, and just let that dumbbell kind of drag you down into that full internal rotation. Raise back up with the external rotators. Be mindful. I like to put my hand on the shoulder and just kind of keep that real nice and steady so that we're just getting pure shoulder internal rotation and external rotation on the way up. Next exercise is really for the supraspinatus, and the next couple are for the more of that supraspinatus, which is the upper part of the rotator cuff. Kind of comes up and around, it kind of inserts down here in the shoulder. Another part of it. This one's called the prone Y, and a lot of people kind of get this one wrong, but really you're raising the arm up into the Y position as if you're doing the Y in the song YMCA. Textbook form right there. And now we're looking at our scaption raises, otherwise as we call full cans. So the thing is you want to keep your arms kind of in that Y position, not all the way back and all the way in front, and then you don't want to be hopping and skipping like we're doing here, kind of like people do with 40-pound dumbbells when they do lateral raises. And don't let your shoulders hike up very high. The next one we're going to have here is some lateral raises. I like to do them, kind of out, but also have the palms up just a little bit. And don't let your thumbs go down like you're pouring out a can of your favorite beverage, whatever that may be. And then when you do lateral raises, there's no need to go extremely heavy and try to max out lateral raises. If you're trying to do heavy weight for the shoulders, just do dumbbell shoulder press or strict press because you'll get a much more benefit from that for the shoulders as compared to loading up on the lateral raises and getting a whole lot of body language in to try to lateral raise 60 pounds. And lastly, when doing lateral raises, don't shrug your shoulders like we're doing here in this video. What you should think about initiating movement is kind of on the outer shoulder here and not shrugging your shoulders to initiate the movement or get the weight up. If you get to the point where you're shrugging a lot because you're so fatigued, take a rest and make sure your form is correct. Unlike the deltoid, the pectoralis major, the lats, and all these giant prime movers in the shoulder, the rotator cuff does not produce a lot of force like those guys do. As a matter of fact, it produces a lot of stability in the shoulder and keeping the head of the humerus tucked nice and close in the glenohumeral joint so we're not getting a whole lot of translation. Let the weights rise up for a lot of your pushes, pulls, dips, all those other large compound movements for the shoulder, and really focus on increasing the reps and keeping your form really tight with these exercises so that you feel that long-term burn in the shoulder so that you know that you're really working those rotator cuff muscles. And as for that, thanks for watching. This is Kiefer Huff with Huff's Physical Therapy and Strength and Conditioning. I appreciate you watching and taking the time out of your day to learn something. I hope this video was informational. Please subscribe, comment all you'd like, and then also follow me on my social medias in the description. And feel free to reach out to me on huffsphysicaltherapynsc.com in relation to programming, coaching, and even physical therapy evaluations. Thanks.